This is Janjo, and I'm building a deck, yeah! What is up, Janjo fam? Remember last 2004 Chaos format video I made with that water Chaos deck that was really super spicy? It was a super soaker spicy deck. I mentioned that I also had a water deck for the format planned, and it's much different. It's much more of a, well, let's just call it what it is, not meta deck. But hey, I thought it was so fun because you don't really see many 2004 Chaos format decks, and I wanted to make something a bit more using the cards in the format that wasn't just water Chaos, because we already did that. This is more geared towards the water attribute, but there's a lot of great cards in it. I think we could play a lot of fun stuff revolving around that. So we're playing two Levia Dragons, and the main thing I wanted to make with this deck was because of Levia Dragon, because in Go format you have Neo Daedalus, and I have made a deck about that. You know, if you're running Levia Dragon, might as well run Neo Daedalus, right? Well, this was before that, so it was kind of cool running a water deck that, like, this was the boss monster of this. You know, we're not running BLS or Envoy, this is like water, and I think water is a very scary attribute, and you don't want to take it too lightly, because it can definitely hit you hard. We're running cards DD Warrior Lady and Kaiku. This is light and dark cards, but they're great anti-chaos cards. Kaiku prevents your opponent from banishing cards, and DD Warrior Ladle just gets rid of cards. And of course, Levia Dragon also just gets rid of cards. Now the problem is that Big Wave, Small Wave wasn't a card yet, which makes summon these guys kind of tough. But we have ways around that. So we have Mother Grizzly, which, in conjunction with Legendary Ocean, which will make Levia Dragon a 1 tribute monster, we have many things that can help us out with that. So of course, again, we got Mother Grizzly, which can float into itself. It can float into Revival Jam, in which we can bring it back. So if we have a Levia Dragon in our hand and we know we need some sort of tribute fodder, we can at least use Revival Jam to make sure we get to that position. Because life points is a resource, and if you need to use them for Revival Jam, then use them for Revival Jam. Playing Sangan, Witch of Black Forest, they can search out a lot of stuff. Grizzly, Revival Jam, Serpent, Yomi Ship, which can also be brought by Mother Grizzly, in which if it's destroyed by battle, then it will destroy the monster. So you can destroy any threats, really, with this card, which is great. You can set it, you can summon it, you can crash into it. It's much more malleable than like a Man-Eater Bug or an old Vindictive Magician, which is really cool. It's a Newdoria, it's a water Newdoria, you know. And then we're playing some beaters here, because beaters are great too. We got Gaga Yugioh with 1850 attack, which is a very respectable attack. And combined with the Legendary Ocean, Gaga Yugioh will have 2050 attack, meaning it can be even beat over a Berserk Gorilla, which Berserk Gorilla was introduced in Invasion of Chaos, so there might be a Beast Down deck in the future. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And then we are playing one Gaga Yugioh. I have made a Yugioh deck, but that was a GOAT format in the past. That was actually initially going to be a Daedalus deck, but I was looking at all these Gaga Yugioh cards. I'm like, oh, they're really cool. And this deck can definitely benefit with at least one of them, if not more, if you want to go that route. Because with Legendary Ocean, this becomes a normal summonable 2650 attack monster, and that's scary. So you have a lot of really scary cards about it. You have floaters, you have beaters, you have destructions, you have anti-chaos stuff, you have complete nukes on the field. And that's just great. We are playing one more Legendary Ocean than we did in the Water Chaos, just because this does facilitate more Legendary Ocean plays. Again, with that said, we're not playing Terraforming. I just didn't have room compared to the other cards. Change of Heart, you can steal monsters for tributes if you need to. Graceful Charity, Forceful Sentry. We're not playing Delinquent, we're not playing Confiscation. I think in this format, they're the weaker of the two when compared to Forceful Sentry, which just shuffles a card back in the deck. Just because Chaos is so thriving in this format, I don't want to give your opponent... You don't want to give your opponent more light and dark monsters. And I certainly do not want that at all. We are playing 2 MSCs and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. No need for a Heavy Storm if we got all these cards. I've mentioned this in pretty much every 2004 video, but it's really hard to figure out cards for especially back row cards. cards. It's really hard to figure that out because there's so many. This is before a limited list. This is before a banned list. You had limited cards, obviously. With this, is that every card you can play. So what do you add without having this just 50, 60 card deck? And that's the hard part. Especially in a more thematic deck where you need to play cards that, you know, you were taking 3 Legendary Oceans that could be a spot for Delinquent Duo, Confiscation, another MST, Mirage and Nightmare, Painful Choice, Delinquent Duo. You see where I'm getting at, right? But I think given what you're trying to do with the deck, it's not as bad if you need to take out some of these cards. I don't need to run Painful Choice. I don't need to run Delinquent Duo. You could swap out some cards if you wanted, but I like having some stuff like Call of Haunted if we need to get like that quick tribute card and we have something that's set. If we need to bring back Daedalus for a future nuke, there are things we can use for certain, and I do feel comfortable when I do morph. That's what making these decks kind of tricky, and there's not many Yugi tubers or resources out there to get otherwise for some of these older formats, like pre-GOAT format. But I really like the look of this deck, just having a different deck that isn't a Chaos deck in the Chaos format. You just don't see that. Because all the other decks I made, you know, I've made Water Chaos, I've made Plant Chaos, but this is the first time I made something that isn't Chaos oriented. Could you play like a Blackluster Soldier? I guess. I mean, you do have 2 lights, but they're both DD Warrior ladies. They're gonna probably be banished anyway, so like, don't even bother. There's plenty of great cards in this to make a fun deck. It's not gonna be a tier 1 deck, but I think you can have fun with it. I think that's what's important, and that's what I want to share on the Janjo Zone. So let me know what you think about this deck. Is it good? What other decks like to see in the future? Let me know, and I'll see you all next time.